Good morning. The world certainly seems somewhat upside down. The signs and timing of seasons is all askew, and I'm not sure how to get things back on track. We all know that summer is the time for holidays, for resting up and restoring the internal batteries that make success in so many things possible. And all fun-loving Canadians know that summer ends in the climax of the X, the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition. Mindless fun, the lines for the rides, the animals, the flowers, endless booths of products you never knew existed or that you needed, all generations screaming on the roller coaster, eating too much of all the wrong and delicious delicacies on offer from kitchens found about the whole wide world. And then, on Labor Day, we celebrate the workers and all that will start up the next day as we close down the great fair and prepare for a new year of work and school. Fall is for new beginnings, putting into effect all the dreams and plans you were too worn out to launch in the spring and now, polished in the summer sun, the energy and the opportunities and invitations are limitless. And so we explore and launch and try again. Then, energized by Halloween and grounded by Remembrance Day, we burst into the final steps of creativity as Advent captures our spirit and as we careen into the Christmas holidays with all its excitement and family and joy. And as the real winter settles in, most of us turn again indoors to our desks and computers as we work through the details and drudgery of putting plans and ideas into operation and working out the wrinkles. Snowy days seem ideal for such projects, while diversions charm us out in short spurts into the dazzling white of snow angels and snowballs, skis and skates and snowmobiles, and maple syrup candies with hot cider and mulled wine. Then comes the time of introspection, so compatible with ironing out the kinks of our many projects, the contemplation and self-examination of the Lenten season, which rises to a brilliant climax in the delights of Easter, the very best of hymns and chocolate bunnies and Easter egg hunts. Then spring, the time of savoring the blossoming of the successes of fall and winter, as we slow down to enjoy and evaluate and tweak our efforts, and to smell the buds appearing in the garden, to launch into the cleanup of the detritus of wintertime, and the first mowing of the lawn. Exams written, final report cards received, admissions celebrated, and the wondrous light as each day lingers longer than did the one before. And so the seasons of the year wind down again into the luxury of the sun and the beach and the breezes wafting away the stresses of the work year and the glow of reviewing the evidence of another year of work and living, successes and the occasional disappointments, joys, delights, and things regretted. But it's been almost 2 years since the world was spinning aright on that path that has followed throughout our lives. Each of us has patterns that we have etched into our lives for the seasons and time set aside, for the love of family and friends, for faith with its rhythm and celebrations, for work and play, for our ever-changing needs with the changing of ages, for inevitable sorrows and overwhelming triumphs. What is missing is that over the years we've created ways to cope and find comfort in the familiar when dealing with the unfamiliar. And those particular talents, to find in the past the path for the present, have been sorely pressed during COVID. Nothing familiar and rhythmic has survived unaltered. I watched the clock count down the days to end the summer, and there were no guideposts to mark my way. Without the deep-fried onions and chocolate-covered beetles and the annual pictures of granny and grandchildren on the rides and the air show and the grandstand, I feel a bit at sea. I don't feel refreshed by this summer. It just seemed to have come and gone in heat and browning grass. And although our annual worship in the garden takes place today, and we're back to 470 Woodbine next Sunday with the bricks and the mortars of the church building, the dark cloud of another shutdown remains on the horizon, even as we celebrate having our church open once more and back to worship with those we've missed for so long. And then there are the empty pews of those who have died or moved, who are hospitalized. Those empty spaces loom large. And everything is still askew. All just feels very odd. So where do we go from here? Perhaps by dreaming up new concepts of how we recognize and celebrate the seasons and how the years are recorded. For a good start, make up your mind to be positive about the whole thing. The reality is, if you are unhappy, it's your decision. We can be happy even in the worst times, or at least we can be at peace. Life does not come with guaranteed happy endings for all our dreams, but sometimes the time comes to search for a new beginning, to start things anew, and leave what has atrophied behind. The important thing is to make the most of the minutes and the hours and the days we've been given, using them to delight and encourage and provide. We cannot determine where COVID will go from here. We cannot make policy for the governments or vaccines for the masses, but we can decide to find ways to be happy, satisfied, and positive in our own homes, in our own lives, in our own circumstance. Do you remember the old bit of sage advice on love? If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. There is truth in that. But the reality is that those we love change, and the way we love them changes. The protective love you had for the babe you first held in your arms has morphed into pride and love as you look at the father of your grandchildren. The crush you had on the high school football captain does not compare to the deep love you have for the man he's become. The love we had for our cookie-baking granny has become that refuge we seek for solace and guidance in the challenges of life, to be found in the wisdom she implanted over the mixing bowl and left with us as her loving bounty. And we turn to all our resources as we find new ways ahead. We need to stop looking for a magical Disney finale to all the challenges in life. We need to find our happy endings in the hard work and optimism and determination we bring to each day and the tasks therein. We're not owed happiness or love or success. Outcomes are measured in so many different ways. And what brings satisfaction to one is a disappointment to another. So do not judge your life by anyone else's measuring tape. It's in laboring and challenging and overcoming and persisting that confidence and contentment are to be found. Far too often we judge our life's worth by another's measure. Well, forget that. Move on to your own reality. Your reality is what matters to you. What confirms your identity to you. What wakes you up with a smile and sends you to sleep with a prayer is what counts. In the guidelines of our faith, we find all we need to know how to live well. We know the difference between good and bad. We know what makes us feel good about ourselves and what leaves us ashamed. We are in a new world, but the moral values and rules of life haven't changed. The commandments of Jesus to love our neighbor as ourselves and to love our God still prevail. You don't have to work all that out again. Yes, it is a new day, a new dawn. No one knows what lies ahead. But then, even in the best and most normal of times, we don't know the future. And the lessons of the past take on different interpretations today. But if we stick with what makes us proud of ourselves and our values, those can be counted upon in the here and now of today and tomorrow. So let us walk and talk and seek and laugh and cry and move forward. Those can be counted upon. We can be counted upon. And after all, there really is nowhere else to go except moving ahead. New paths, new landmarks, new choices lie ahead. Much as I want my CNE to end my lost summer, it's not to be. Tomorrow we cannot march in the Labor Day parade or lie on the grass munching on a candy apple as the snowbirds fly overhead. But we can get up and out and do something new. And that is what we need to do. We need to create new landmarks and time marks until our world returns to some kind of normal that we can relate to. Until then, we need to shop at our local stores, eat at the restaurants that are open, and support these, our neighbors, in all the ways that we can. And then, next summer, which will come, I hope to run into you on the Midway on Labor Day, and I'll share a seat with you on the Blitzer, toss rings with you on the Midway, and risk the bellyache that comes from all the delights that await us in the food building. And the morning after, we will welcome fall once more, and all the challenges that will await us for another year. And then on to a new reality, new challenges, new parameters, new adventures, for that is the promise of fall. Blessings on you and your seasons, however they may unfold, and so may it be. Amen. Have you laid out your plans for the fall season, that time of year that tends to be so productive? Are you already into planning costumes for Halloween or good deeds for Advent? Is your garden being prepared for tulip bulbs or grass seed? Or are you watching the trees with rake in hand and jaundiced eye, alert for the falling of leaves? Share your plans and realize your dreams. September is upon us.